The scope of the Department of Asia is extremely broad. Its collections of over 75,000 objects cover the material culture of the whole Asian continent. From East, South, Central and Southeast Asia, and from the Neolithic up to the present day. Until recently, this department concentrated on collecting Oriental antiquities from urban or semi-urban societies across the Asian continent. Many of those objects were collected by colonial officers and explorers in former parts of the British Empire, especially the Indian subcontinent. Examples include the collections made by individuals such as James Wilkinson Breeks, Sir Alexander Cunningham, Sir Harold Deane, Sir Walter Elliot, James Prinsep, Charles Masson, Sir John Marshall and Charles Stewart. A large number of Chinese antiquities were purchased from the Anglo-Greek banker George Eumorphopoulos in the 1930s. The large collection of some 1,800 Japanese prints and paintings owned by Arthur Morrison was acquired in the early 20th century. In the second half of the 20th century, the museum greatly benefited from the bequest of the philanthropist P. T. Brooks Ewell, which allowed the department to purchase many objects and fill in gaps in the collection. In 2004, the ethnographic collections from Asia were transferred to the department. These reflect the diverse environment of the largest continent in the world and range from India to China, the Middle East to Japan. Much of the ethnographic material comes from objects originally owned by tribal cultures and hunter-gatherers, many of whose way of life has disappeared in the last century. Particularly valuable collections are from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, much assembled by the British naval officer Maurice Portman. Sri Lanka, especially through the colonial administrator Hugh Neville. Northern Thailand. Southwest China. The Ainu of Hokkaido in Japan. Chief among them the collection of the Scottish zoologist John Anderson. Siberia, with artifacts collected by the explorer Kate Marsden and Bassett Digby, and is notable for its Saka pieces, especially the ivory model of a summer festival at Yakutsk, and the islands of Southeast Asia, especially Borneo. The latter benefited from the purchase in 1905 of the Sarawak collection put together by Dr. Charles Hose, as well as from other colonial officers such as Edward A. Jeffreys. In addition, a unique and valuable group of objects from Java, including shadow puppets and a gamelan musical set, was assembled by Sir Stamford Raffles. The principal gallery devoted to Asian art in the museum is Gallery 33 with its comprehensive display of Chinese, Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asian objects. An adjacent gallery showcases the Amaravati sculptures and monuments. Other galleries on the upper floors are devoted to its Japanese, Korean, painting and calligraphy, and Chinese ceramics collections. Highlights of the collections include the most comprehensive collection of sculpture from the Indian subcontinent in the world, including the celebrated Buddhist limestone reliefs from Amaravati excavated by Sir Walter Elliot, an outstanding collection of Chinese antiquities, paintings, and porcelain, lacquer, bronze, jade, and other applied arts. The Frau Olga Julia Wegener collection of 147 Chinese paintings from the Tang to the Qing dynasties. The most comprehensive collection of Japanese pre-20th century art in the Western world, many of which originally belonged to the surgeon William Anderson and diplomat Ernest Mason. Sato East Asia. A large collection of Chinese ritual bronzes, including a wine vessel in the shape of two rams supporting a jar. 1500 to 200 BC. Jade bai or disc with inscription from the Qianlong Emperor. 1500 to 1050 BC. Group of oracle bones that were used for divination from the Shang dynasty. China. 1200 to 1050 BC. Intricately designed gold dagger handle from Eastern Zhou period. China. 6th–5th centuries BC. Huxian bronze Hu. An identical pair of bronze vessels from the Eastern Zhou period. China. 5th century BC. Japanese antiquities from the Kofun period excavated by the pioneering archaeologist William Goland. 3rd–6th centuries AD. 3 ornate bronze dotaku or bells from the Yayoi period. Japan. 200 BC to 200 AD. Gilded and inscribed Han Dynasty wine cup made from lacquer and found in Pyongyang. Korea. 4 AD. Gandharan architectural wood carvings. Furniture and dress accessories from Lulan. Xinjiang. 4th century AD. The famous admonitions scroll by Chinese artist Gu Kaiji. 344 to 406 AD. The colossal Amitabha Buddha from Hankui. China. 585 AD. A set of ceramic Tang dynasty tomb figures of Lu Tingzun. c. 728 AD. Silk princess painting from Dandan Oilik Buddhist sanctuary in Khotan. Xinjiang. China. 7th–8th century AD. Seated Luohan from Yizhan. One from a set of 8 surviving statues. China. 907–1125 AD. Hoard of Tang dynasty silverware from Beiwangshan. Shaanxi. China. 9th–10th centuries AD. 17 examples of extremely rare ruware. The largest collection in the West. 1100 AD. A fine assemblage of Buddhist scroll paintings from Dunhuang, Western China. Collected by the British-Hungarian explorer Aurel Stein. 5th–11th centuries AD. Percival David collection of Chinese ceramics. 10th–18th centuries AD. Ivory stand in the form of a seated lion. Cho's Khor Yan Rtse Monastery in Tibet. 13th century AD. Quote, copy of a hanging scroll painting of Minamoto no Yoritomo, first shogun of Japan. 14th century AD. Hand scroll silk painting called Fascination of Nature by Si Chufang depicting insects and plants. China. 1321 AD. Quote, ornate Sino-Tibetan figure of Buddha Sakyamuni made of gilded bronze. China. 1403 to 1424 AD. Large cloisonné jar with dragon made for the Ming dynasty imperial court. Paired with another in the Rietberg Museum. Zurich. Beijing. China. 1426 to 35 AD. Pair of ceramic kakiman elephants from Japan. 17th century AD. Moon jar from the Joseon dynasty collected by the potter Bernard Leach. Korea. 18th century AD. Japanese prints including the Great Wave off Kanagawa. 1829 to 32 AD. Illustrations for the Great Picture Book of Everything. Rare album of drawings by the celebrated Japanese artist Hokusai. 1820 to 1840 AD. South Asia. Excavated objects from the Indus Valley sites of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Ancient India. Now in Pakistan. 2500–2000 BC. Hoard of copper hoard culture Celts. Plaques and disc from Gunjria. Madhya Pradesh. India. 2000 to 1000 BC. Assembly of prehistoric artifacts from the Nilgiri Hills in southern India. 10th century BC 2nd century AD. Hoard of Iron Age metal weapons excavated at the Warigaon Barrow near Kamptree in Maharashtra. India. 7th–1st centuries BC. Sandstone fragment of a pillar of Ashoka with Brahmi inscription from Meerut. Uttar Pradesh. India. 238 BC. The Kulu vase found near a monastery in Himachal Pradesh. One of the earliest examples of figurative art from the subcontinent. Northern India. 1st century BC. Copper plate from Taxila. With important Kharoshthi inscription. Ancient India. Now in Pakistan. 1st century BC 1st century AD. Indo-Scythian sandstone Mathura lion capital and bracket figure from one of the gateways to the Great Stupa at Sanchi. Central India. 1st century AD. Bhima casket and Wardak vase. Reliquaries from ancient stupas in Afghanistan. 1st–2nd centuries AD. Hoard of gold jewelry with precious stones found under the Enlightenment throne at the Mahabodhi Temple. Bodh Gaya. Eastern India. 2nd century AD. Relic deposits from stupas at Ahan Posh. Ali Masjid. Gudavada. Manikyala. Sanala Pind. Sanchi and Taxila. 1st–3rd centuries AD. Seated Harati and Buddha statues and other Gandhara sculptures from Kafa Kot. Jamal Gahi. Takht-i Bahi and Yusufzai. Pakistan. 1st–3rd centuries AD. Hephthalite silver bowl with hunting scenes from the Swat district. Pakistan. 460 to 479 AD. 3 sandstone carved sculptures of the Buddha in Gupta style from Sarnath. Eastern India. 5th–6th centuries AD. Ifsad inscription of Adityasena with important record of the genealogy of the later Gupta dynasty. Up to King Adityasena. Gosrawan. Bihar. India. 675 AD. The Buddhapad hoard of bronze images from southern India. 6th–8th centuries AD. Small bronze figure of Buddha Shakyamuni. Bihar. Eastern India. 7th century AD. Stone statue of Buddha from the Sultanganj hoard. Bihar. Eastern India. 7th–8th centuries AD. Earliest known figure of the dancing four-armed god Shiva Nataraja. Pallava dynasty. Southern India. 800 AD. Statue of Tara from Sri Lanka and the Tanjavur Shiva from Tamil Nadu. Southern India. 8th century and 10th century AD. Standing parlor statue of Buddha from Kurkahar. Bihar. India. 9th century AD. Several wooden architectural panels from the Kashmir Smast caves. Northern Pakistan. 9th–10th centuries AD. Hoard of Buddhist terracotta ceilings from the Pala period found at the Nalanda Monastery. Bihar. Eastern India. 10th century AD. Statue of the goddess Ambika found at Dar in central India. 1034 AD. Foundation inscription of the Ananta Vasudeva temple in Bhubaneswar. Odisha. Eastern India. 1278 AD. Jade dragon cup that once belonged to Sultan Ulu Beg from Samarkand. Uzbekistan. 1420 to 1449 AD. Foundation inscription with Arabic inscription in Naskh script in the name of Sultan Yusufshah from Gouda, Bengal. Eastern India. 1477 AD. Large standing gilded copper figure of the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. Nepal. 15th–16th centuries AD. Southeast Asia. Earthenware taza from the Phung Nguyen culture. Northern Vietnam. 2000 to 1500 BC. Pottery vessels and sherds from the ancient site of Ban Chang. Thailand. 10th–1st centuries BC. Bronze bell from Klang and iron-socketed axe. Tulang Mawas. From Perak. Western Malaysia. 200 BC to 200 AD. Group of 6 Buddhist clay votive plaques found in a cave in Patania. Penang. Malaysia. 6th–11th centuries AD. The famous Sambas treasure of Buddhist gold and silver figures from West Borneo. Indonesia. 8th–9th centuries AD. 3 stone Buddha heads from the temple at Borobudur in Java, Indonesia. 9th century AD. Granite Kenari figure in the shape of a bird from Candi Prambanan in Java, Indonesia. 9th century AD. Sandstone Champa figure of a rampant lion, Vietnam. 11th century AD. Gilded bronze figure of Shiva holding a rosary, Cambodia. 11th century AD. Stone figure representing the upper part of an 11-headed Avalokitesvara, Cambodia. 12th century AD. Bronze figure of a seated Buddha from Bagan, Burma. 12th–13th centuries AD. Hoard of Southern Song dynasty ceramic vessels excavated at Pinagbayanan, Taysan Municipality, Philippines. 12th–13th centuries AD. Statue of the goddess Mamaki from Candi Yago, Eastern Java, Indonesia. 13th–14th centuries AD. Glazed terracotta tiles from the Shwegugi temple erected by King Dharmazedi in Bago, Myanmar. 1476 AD. Inscribed bronze figure of a Buddha from Phang district, part of a large Shay Asian collection amassed by the Norwegian explorer Carl Bock, Thailand. 1540 AD. Large impression of the Buddha's foot made of gilded stone, known as Shvesator footprints, donated by Captain Frederick Marriott, from Ponadang near Yangon, Myanmar. 18th–19th centuries AD.